Well, we thought we'd seen it all this winter, didn't we? But my word, we've had another absolutely shocking day for England with the bat again today. 103 for 8, so they're effectively 10 for 8 on a pitch that's, yes, it's offered a bit, but really only Alex Lees could be blamed today for a ball that shot along the ground off it, batted for 131 balls for his 31. The rest really pretty abject shot selection, misjudgments, and what Folkes was doing, running himself out, going for that needless second. Well, only he could possibly answer that. Carl Myers took 5 for 9. He's about 6 foot. He comes with a low trajectory and enjoyed the conditions. But really, I think those figures would flatter anybody today. And that after West Indies added 65 runs for their last 2 wickets today, far more than England would have wanted. De Silva finished with exactly 100 not out. But it was a bit of controversy earlier on because Seals surely should have been given out LBW when the lead was just 41. We thought that was going to be important at the time. Of course, it turned out to be pretty irrelevant. But he and De Silva added 52 in 25 overs to post that lead to 93. So, Dean Wilson's with me. I thought we'd moved on from all of this, Dean, but that's just wretched.
Yeah, do you know what, Aggers? I'm sitting here at the end of a day's play. I'm pretty exhausted from what I've seen, just because we did think that they'd moved on, and that the confidence that they'd gained from Antigua and Barbados would play into conditions where things were maybe not so flat and not so straightforward, but they'd have the confidence to know that they can score runs, you know, against this opposition, against these bowlers. Obviously, Carl Myers has come in, is the only change, and has had a significant impact, clearly. But it's just about the pressure. That's the only real difference. As soon as the pressure comes on, the game's on the line, the series is on the line, England have not been able to cope with that. And for me, that is the big thing here, how to deal with that pressure.
And the important, Root, poor shot. Again, you have to say, Stokes in two minds about leaving or not. You know, the big players, if you like, Johnny Bairstow's decision to try and hook a short ball from round the wicket, bottom edge. You know, they're all, and Crawley again, the big booming drive. This time not to extra cover, but to second slip. You know, that was a familiar aberration. You know, so that Bairstow has obviously been out in those situations before. And what Folkes was doing, well, what was that?
Yeah, very, very well. I mean, I think what he was trying to do was get out there, get into the game, be busy, and put some energy into the innings. But you know, there's putting energy in, and then there's, you know, just setting a lightning bolt to the thing and sending yourself back. Because, yeah, look, you know, senior players throughout that lineup have made a lot of mistakes, and you talk about being in two minds, and that's the sort of scrambled thinking at the moment of the batsman, not knowing when to leave and when to play. The decision making has been appalling.
You're trying to be judicious. You know that there's the pitch has offered a bit, and there's a bit of uneven bounce going on. So they just seem to be so watchful and so cramped and just sort of gripping the bat so hard. You can almost feel it's like that.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, almost trying too hard. I mean, you know, it will sound ludicrous. Obviously, we're here talking about it, and it does sound ludicrous. You know, castigating some for leaving too much, others for not leaving enough.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, it's not just about that. It's about decision making. It's about being clear, knowing where your off stump is, knowing exactly what balls to leave and what balls to play, and also trying to take low risk options. We've watched this game unfold. We've watched how the ball has got softer and how it's become easier to play after about 40 overs. We've watched Joshua De Silva play the innings of the series, let alone this match, the innings of the series. And so I think that when the batsmen go out, it's all about being very clear in how they need to go about it, how they need to play. And what we saw was very much muddled thinking from the batsmen, and it cost them dearly.
Well, started to go wrong this morning, really, didn't it? I mean, West Indies scored many more runs than England will have wanted, and they got the early wicket. They got Roach out virtually straight away, with a bit of luck too, caught down the leg side. So that was the important one, because he can hang around. Dear old Seals averages 3, and he batted for 25 overs. with De Silva. I mean, we must mention that LBW again. I mean, the umpiring's been really poor in this series, let's be honest. I think there were 2 poor decisions today. You could blame England for having burned off their reviews, and you know, they were gambling with those yesterday, especially the last one, but he should have been given out LBW. Then there's that bizarre situation, I've not seen it before, have you, where a batsman reviews, but everyone's left the field apart from the umpire, and that was De Silva on 100, but literally everyone was off the field and had to come back again.
Well, of course, there was a time when, regardless of the review decision, he'd have been out anyway, because as soon as you leave the field of play, you know, you're out. They changed that playing condition, and now, even though I think he'd actually made his way, I think De Silva had made his way up the stairs to the dressing room, you know, received rapturous applause from the local fans, and then he was told, no, you know, carry on, you get another go. Of course, the only difference it made, having gone back out there with Jayden Seales, then the last man out, was that he turned 100 out to 100 not out, and it doesn't matter what level of cricket you're playing, everyone loves a red inker.
Yeah, but 65 runs on that slow pitch, and again, we said it again last night. I just don't see how Broad and Anderson would have allowed them to have done that, and on that pitch, I'm not sure how people would have scored runs against them either, because they just nagged away with that really soft ball, short of a length, and they've been very difficult to score off. And Dean Shawley, I mean, I can feel people sharpening pencils and pens for tomorrow, because that line of questioning is inevitable, isn't it, when England lose?
It will be inevitable. I think obviously we talked a lot about it at the start of the tour, because it was, you know, the big decision that was made, and you know, a decision that Joe Root, you know, kind of has to own. You know, he's captain. If he didn't agree with it, he should have said so and fought for them, but obviously he did, so he has to own that. But it's fine. They make decisions for lots of different reasons. I think you then give them an opportunity to play and see how things pan out. Absolutely. And I hope we haven't perhaps banged on about it too much, because you know, you've got to be fair to the guys who are out here giving everything, really trying you know, their very best, and then we get to this point now at the back end of the series, and we'll see what happens tomorrow, but as is likely, it will appear that, you know, that decision has backfired and has left England, you know, facing a 1-0 series defeat, and Joe will have to deal with those questions.
It feels like back to square one, don't you think?
It's not even so much about being back to square one, because I think they've sort of kneecapped themselves, and almost it's almost a self-inflicted wound in many ways, and so I don't know how things are going to evolve from here, because all this talk about a red ball reset, it sort of feels as though they might have to reset the reset, and then, you know, if and when, and I do think it'll be a when, you know, James and Stuart come back into the team. I mean, that's going to be a fantastic. I wish I was fly on the wall for that conversation when they walk back into the dressing room and say, "All right, Joe, how did it go in the West Indies, mate? All good." So yeah, it's going to be an interesting development in the summer, but you know, England have got a lot of improvements to make, because so far, yes, they've scored runs on flat pitches, but they struggled to take wickets on those pitches, and then now on a slightly more interesting pitch, they've struggled to score runs and been bowled out by better bowling. So, yeah,
just a last thought,
a lot to improve.
Yeah, Michael Vaughan's, I see, said on BT Sport on television commentary that he thinks this is Joe Root's last Test match as captain. Now, I mean, he's not here, and it's it's one of those things that you can say. But I mean, do you think that's possible?
Well, it's certainly possible, but I mean, you know, Michael Vaughan's in a far better position to make calls on Joe Root, who he obviously knows terrifically well, and you know, Michael's been in that position. It's not for me to call time on Joe Root, but you know, questions absolutely will be asked, because he's been in the job for 5 years. He's kind of rebuilt the team, you know, a couple of times, and obviously very determined to go again. We asked him about his position before this match in any case, and he very much reiterated that he felt he was the best man for the job, absolutely determined. And I respect that, and I respect his desire to do the best for the England team. But things change, of course they do. Each game, each situation, will pose different questions. And I think in the end, yes, Joe may well have the desire to do the job, but he'll look back at this game and he'll look at various passages, both with the ball when in the field this morning, and then the way that his players perform with the bat. And there's no doubt he's going to be asking himself, is this really right for the team? Is this really right for me? And he may come back and say, yes, I am the right man for it in his mind. But he also knows that there's going to be a new MD, there's going to be a new head coach, and that decision may well be taken out of his hands, and we'll see who leads the team out at the 2nd of June.
Yeah, this will be his 11th defeat in the last 18 tests. So who do England push out at moments like this? Is the poor old batting coach to explain what's happened. Let's hear from Marcus Trescothick.
Marcus, how do you explain that?
Disappointing. We've had a tough day. We've not got it right in a few aspects of the day, and it's something really that we need to improve upon. So, the guys are pretty despondent at the moment as expected, but I think we'll look upon it and try and learn from mistakes that we've made, and try and be better in our next opportunity when we come around during the summertime.
It just looked familiar and similar to Australia after some good work had been done here.
Yeah, sure. I think it's easy to sort of, to look upon it in that way. Let's not get too far away. The first 2 test matches were very good. We put in some better performances, and we all feel like we've grown as a team. Togetherness and the approach and the attitude, I think, has been considerably better. But today that didn't match up to the standards that we sort of set in those sort of couple of games. So the reasons why will be worked out, and hopefully then they can do something about it.
It's fair to say that only really Alex Lees could feel betrayed by the pitch.
Yeah, it was a horrible delivery, wasn't it, that one? He'd worked so hard to get himself into that position to grind away. And I think, a few other people, of course, will be disappointed with what happened today. But it happens, as we know, but it's no excuse, and have to try and work out solutions and be better at it.
Yeah. You played many times. Can you get gremlins in your mind when you've seen some balls behaving strangely during the course of a game when you come to bat yourself?
Oh, I'm sure you can. Yeah, I think maybe let's give a little bit of credit to the way Mars has bowled in the course of the game. He's taken 7 wickets for hardly anything, and really sort of turned the game on its head. And you have to be better, that we find solutions to when bowlers bowl in that fashion. That's up to us as coaching staff and players to come up to different ways to make it work. And you can't have days like this in Test cricket when the series is going down to the wire. But unfortunately, we have.
Yeah. I mean, does it feel very deflating after there has been some good work done on this tour, but it feels kind of back to square one in a way?
Well, it's a kick in the guts, that's for sure, and the guys are really, as I said to you, are really despondent about what's happened today. But I think we're really positive, and the way that it's gone in the first couple of games, we were really hopeful coming into this, because everything we were doing, the outlook on the game we were putting in place, the things that were happening, were showing real good signs that we were getting somewhere, and we were getting to getting that sort of passion and the drive about what the team were doing. But as you say, when you have a day like this, it really sort of steps you back. So just something to keep learning from, of course.
Yeah. And this morning, there was an umpire decision that went against England, no doubt about that. But generally, do you think that West Indies scored too many?
They got more than we wanted them to get, of course. What were they overnight? 28 ahead or something like that. And we would have wanted to knock them over as quick as possible. Of course you do. It did look pretty flat, the pitch. We didn't get much life out of it, and the two or three guys batted pretty well. So credit to Josh De Silva getting his first 100. He played the situation nicely, made it very tricky. Again, we could possibly look at maybe how we approached it and look, hopefully make it better.
Yeah. The last one, I mean, it seems hopeless cause, isn't it?
Well, it'd be a great game to win from here, that's for sure. We'd need another Jack Leach masterclass, but you never know. Stupid games happen, but it's very, very unlikely, isn't it? But we'll lick our wounds tonight and try and come back and do something tomorrow.
I mean, you never say never, Dean. Poor old Marcus there being pushed out to try and explain that, but I mean, 10 for 8. It's going to take more than just a Headingley 19, I think, to win this one.
Well, that's our touch point, isn't it, of unbelievable things that we've seen from the England Test team. I can't see it myself, but yes, never say never. Of course, Jack Leach and Saqib Mahmood put on 90 for the last wicket in the first innings. Were they to do the same in the second innings, then of course, there'd be a chance, because I do think absolutely batting last on this pitch is not going to be easy, but I suspect the West Indies will have a significantly lower total than that to chase.
And what about the 5 for 9 man, Kyle Mayers?
Well, Carl, that's an extraordinary situation in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, coming into this game, I always want to make an impact, especially in a crucial game like this to decide the series, I just went out and tried my best, to stick to my strengths, and it worked out nicely.
Yeah. You've seen the right kind of height and trajectory for a pitch that's keeping a bit low?
Well, I try my best to get some work to keep low, but I don't know. It's just the nature of the wicket, I guess. I try to bowl some flat seam deliveries too to try to exploit that variable bounce. But at the end of the day, just try to make the batsman play as much as possible. Just try to bowl as straight as possible.
5 for 9? I mean, that's ridiculous figures.
Yeah, I always try to bowl tight. That's my thing, Coming into this team, for the captain, I'm one of those guys who come and control the game for him. So I always take pride in my figures, I always try to bowl tight. You'll see that I set a more defensive field than others, because I bowl a little fuller and a little slower too as well. So it's just for me to hang in there, keep the batsman playing and stay tight and hopefully take some wickets.
It's been the West Indies day from the start, really, hasn't it? Those useful runs that were added this morning.
I think it was a brilliant day for us, Joshua and the tail-enders actually inspire us to go out there and perform like that this evening. So seeing Josh score his first 100 inspired the whole team, and momentum just slides straight into the bowling.
And your favourite wicket, which is your one that you'll remember tonight most of all? They're all pretty good.
Yeah, I think Joe Root,
yeah.
The second one. Yeah, I think a crucial wicket. Captain, one of the best batsmen, getting him out is a big thing for me, and it actually helped the team.
And what would it mean to beat England here tomorrow? I mean, I think we can assume that's likely to happen. What will that mean to you and your team?
It means a lot, From the beginning, guys were speaking about how historic this series is. England haven't beaten us at home for a while, so to beat England tomorrow would be great.
There's Kyle Mayers, a delightful fellow, back in the side. 5 for 9. I mean, there's dreamtime figures, aren't they?
Absolutely, and let's all take off our England hats and just appreciate that. For Kyle Mayers, think of Scott Boland, think of Roston Chase,
yes.
Think of Ed O'Brandis. These are special days for cricketers that they'll take, forever and a day, and be telling their grandkids about. And it's fantastic for him, because he has clearly got some ability with the ball. Put a lot of balls in the right place for these conditions. He scooted round the boundary and threw in that throw to run out Ben Foakes. He's had a terrific day, and it doesn't matter which team you support. You just love to see cricketers put on a show and have that kind of performance every now and again. So, yeah, congratulations to Kyle Mayers. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
Thanks, Dean. I suspect we know what we'll be talking about tomorrow when we resume here, but thanks for your company for now.